What's up, worldies? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I know you guys have missed me. I've missed you too. And I really have a lot of things that I have to say on a lot of topics that have happened in the past, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. Obviously big deals. Obviously big events for the United States, for world soccer, for everyone involved in the beautiful game that we all love. The US men won the Gold Cup. The US women took home the bronze. A little more on that in a later video. And Lionel Messi is now playing in France. What? Are you kidding me? However, because we're always a day late and a dollar short here on this channel, today we're gonna do some Premier League predictions. Now, I know you've seen, if you follow the game, if you follow people who follow the game on YouTube, you've seen a lot of predictions go up on channels about soccer. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna give it my own wrinkle, my own shot at it. Because what do I like to do? I like to make predictions. They're fun, they're involving, they're polarizing, they make you think a little bit, and honestly, at the end of the day, we just like to know that we are right. So a lot of creators have gone about this just listing the teams and saying, oh, well, I think this team's gonna finish in this spot and this team's gonna finish in that spot and so on. I'm gonna kind of do that, but I'm also going to give it a little bit of flair. I honestly think that in order to accurately deem whether a team is going to do well or not, you have to look at the circumstances and you have to look at the schedule that surrounds that team. Certain teams are going to be playing more games than others. Certain teams are going to have players that are or are not available throughout the season. Certain players will give a certain boost to teams that will push them higher up the table than they necessarily would be. A player of that kind of example is Harry Kane. Whether or not he makes a move by the end of the transfer window from Tottenham to Manchester City. Personally, I don't think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna stay at Tottenham, especially because Nuno Espirito Santo is going to elevate Tottenham in a way that they haven't seen since Mauricio Pochettino was at the club a few years ago. But there are other circumstances that fall into whether or not teams are going to play well, whether or not teams are going to do well, and whether or not teams are going to finish above or below where they should. Now, obviously, the Premier League season has already kicked off today. Brentford beat Arsenal 2-0 at home to take a massive 3 points to kick off the season. And had I done this video a day or two ago, I would have told you that I see Brentford actually probably finishing somewhere in mid-table. And you could have said, oh, that's crazy. And you would have been like, no, that's never going to happen. And then they would have won today and I would have looked like a genius. Unfortunately, I haven't put out anything in a while, and that prediction isn't going to look as crazy to you guys as it is now. However, I'm also not going to sit here and say that I didn't call it. My thoughts into this opening match, I thought it was going to be a 1-1 draw for the start, because I don't see Mikel Arteta, the manager for Arsenal, lasting until Thanksgiving. He is not going to be the coach for Arsenal by the end of the season. More than likely, it's going to be Thierry Henry, the other great Arsenal legend who everyone pips as the next manager for that club. I don't think Mikel Arteta has what it takes to take this Arsenal side and make them any better than they are. They have a lot of young talent. They have some good, solid squad players, but at the end of the day, they are just a middle of the table team that honestly isn't going to do anything for a while. So seeing Brentford beat Arsenal the way that they did, in the manner that they did, does not surprise me in the slightest. In fact, it's actually a little bit expected. To kick things off with that was a fantastic way to start the Premier League season, and I'm excited for the rest of what's to come. I think moving forward, you have to look specifically at the schedule for the Premier League, and if you're going to do predictions. Some are going to say this is a little biased, some are going to say this is a little iffy, but I'm telling you, to start the season, we're going to see some of the most ridiculous feats of managerial performance and some of the most ridiculous feats of club football you've ever seen on both the high and the low end. Through 15 games, 3 teams, not 1, not 2, but 3 teams are going to be undefeated. Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham will all have not lost after 15 games through the season. Now, that sounds crazy. That sounds preposterous. The crazier part to me is the fact that Manchester United and Man City will still be ahead of Tottenham in the standings, even though Tottenham haven't lost a match. This is the way I see the top 7 looking after 15 games. This is going to be a crazy season, but it's also going to have a few ups and downs that we're not expecting. I predict that a lot of teams will be seeing a lot of draws and unexpected losses moving forward once we get past this point, simply because the game schedule is so heavy. You've got all of these teams either playing in the Champions League or in the Europa League, and then you've got a bunch of teams who are playing outside competitions like the FA Cup. After the year and a half that these teams have just gone through with the number of games that they've played, look at Pedri, who plays for Barcelona in La Liga. He played 72 matches this season after the entire La Liga season, after the Champions League, after Euro 2020, and after the Olympics. That is a ton of games to put on one's body. And yes, I know they're professional players, they get the best medical treatment, and they've got the best teams and dietitians working on them 24/7 all across the board. But it's still, at the end of the day, there's going to be some lag. There's going to be some 0-0 games where we're just bored, and it's not going to be good football. So after 15 games, I don't see Liverpool, I don't see Chelsea, I don't see Tottenham having a loss. Man City and Man United both have 2 losses, but they're all crunched there at the top of the table together, and it's really anybody's ball game who wants to take advantage. At the bottom half of the table, an equally exciting race is shaping up. Southampton, Crystal Palace, Watford, and Brighton will all be in single-digit points by 15 games into the season. And the number, generally, that you look for a team to have to make sure that they escape relegation is 40. If your team can hit 40 points in a season, generally 99 times out of 100 you're going to stay up. However, that number over the past few years has been slowly trickling down to about 25 points. And this season, I think it's going to go even further down, and we're going to have some major drama on the last day at the top and the bottom, unlike we've seen in many years since Man City beat Man United out for the title with Aguero! Also, yes, Arsenal's in the bottom 6. Are you surprised? No. You shouldn't be. If you are, you haven't been paying attention. Now, West Ham in the bottom 6, that could be surprising for some. But what David Moyes did a fantastic job with that club last season, but I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up the pace, especially with the fact that they're in the Europa League and they're going to be caught between 2 different competitions trying to field the best team so that they can get the best results. They're going to have the Leicester City effect that Leicester City had a few years back when they won the Premier League. Now we're going to move it to 30 games into the season. This shows a little bit differently on the score sheet. And at this point, all of the unbeaten teams have taken L. You start to see the drop in form, and you start to see where players are getting a little tired, or there's a key injury, and there's not quite enough to keep these clubs going in all the competitions that they're a part of. Chelsea's going to drop 1 game, and then they're going to have a couple of draws that are really disappointing. Liverpool is going to drop 3 in this game span, and Tottenham's going to drop 2. They're also going to have some serious awkward moments with teams that are trying to avoid the drop, that are trying to get out of the bottom 6, and they're going to drop points to teams that they are not supposed to drop points against. That's just the way that things work. That's the law of the land. We are not going to see this season teams with 30+ wins. It's just not going to happen. Like, the players are too tired, the teams are too stretched. We are not going to get a 30-win champion this season. Yes, Manchester United is at the top of the table, but it's close. All 5 of those teams have a chance at winning this title. There's only 6 points separating Manchester United and Tottenham in 5th. The race for top 4 is huge, but the race to be number 1 is even bigger, especially since these teams have huge clashes against each other in the final 5 games of the season. Don't discount Everton and Leicester in this either. They're going to play a huge part in who is the champion at the end of the season. Looking at the bottom 7, Arsenal's still there, but don't expect them to see them in the bottom 7 by the time 38 matches have been played. They're going to Pip, they'll have their new coach, he'll have found the strategy, and they're going to go on a winning run in April and May to finish mid-table. That's just the Arsenal way. Burnley stayed out of the bottom 7 in the first 15 matches, but they've slowly found themselves dwindling down towards the bottom. West Ham is still going to be there, and they're still going to be crying out for some help. Losing Jesse Lingard back to Manchester United is going to keep them from being a top-level team. We could even see Declan Rice move in the January window. If he does move in the January window, this result for West Ham would not surprise me. He is one of the best players in the Premier League at his position, and seeing him leave would have West Ham in tatters. Southampton manages to get a few wins that they shouldn't have, so they're going to be able to hold on for that final 5 fight. Brighton, Palace, and Watford all have their work cut out for them trying to get out of the bottom floor, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I don't know if they're going to be much closer than what I have them at. I really don't see any of those teams getting above 20 points by the end of the season, and that gives Southampton the open door to just squeak through when it comes to staying up in the Premier League. And here we are at the end of the season. Yes, a lot of y'all are gonna call me homers. Yes, a lot of y'all are gonna say I'm biased. Yes, a lot of y'all are gonna say, well, that's your favorite team. Of course you want them to win and you're gonna pick them. I didn't pick them based on what I wanted. I picked them based on what I saw and the data in front of me. What I felt was going to happen game by game. I went literally game by game. Game by game. And I did all this. I looked at every single game that is on the fixture list, and I predicted who was going to win, who was going to lose, or if they were going to tie. I didn't predict scores because that's outlandish. I might do that later on in the season. I've had some ups and some downs with that with the MLS. You've probably seen it if you follow my TikTok or my Instagram. But I went through each of these games to decide whether I thought the team was going to pull through. Now, I will admit, as it came down to the final 8 games, it got a little awkward. It got a little, is this my fan side talking, or is this my analyst side talking? Am I speaking with my brain, or am I speaking with my heart? Eventually, both won out because I really do feel that Manchester United is going to win the Prem this season. I do think that it's going to happen because of several reasons. I think the tiredness thing is going to be an issue for all of these clubs. So many of these players have been playing so many fixtures. By the time we get down to it, Manchester United will have the depth to take care of business. I do think that a lot of these clubs are going to have draw results or results that are favorable for United to push ahead when they get the opportunity to. I think matchups such as City versus Liverpool, Chelsea versus City, Chelsea versus Tottenham, those kind of matchups throughout the season are in specific places that allow United to jump ahead with a win against, say, Norwich or a win against Southampton. It's not just that I think that they're going to win handily by 20 points. No, this is going to come down to the last day, and it's going to take hard work and effort, just like anything worth fighting for does. Look at the top 3, separated by 2 points. It's not going to be a crazy 31 wins, 30 wins, 29 wins. No, we're talking back to the roots of the Premier League, back to when any team could win or draw on the day, even if they were in the bottom rungs of the league. This set of results seriously surprised me. I didn't expect this many draws. But when I look back at it and I think on it, I went, this actually makes sense. Liverpool and Tottenham are going to fight until the last 2 weekends of the year. And they're going to be right there in the mix. They're going to be putting pressure on these other teams, and it's going to make the competition that much more dire. In the same manner, on the bottom end of the league, we're going to have a relegation battle. Southampton and Brighton, it's going to come down to the last day. Brighton will have an opportunity to get the 3 points and to jump Southampton and to stay in the Premier League. It won't happen, folks. It won't happen. Southampton's going to stay by the skin of their teeth. 1 point. 1 point is all it's going to be for both the Premier League Championship battle and for the relegation battle. It cannot get much better than that. Speaking of battles, it's going to be a huge battle once you hit the 30 game mark for a lot of teams. Arsenal, Newcastle, Norwich, Brentford, Aston Villa, and Wolves are all going to be in the thick of it in the middle of the table, jockeying for position. Unfortunately, Newcastle is going to be the first to 41 points, but in the end, they're still going to finish 13th or 14th. It's going to be an awkward scenario where they're going to see a really good run of form, but they have to take on a huge bunch of heavy hitters at the end, and it's not going to do them any service. Arsenal finishes top half. You're welcome. I don't know why. I don't like Arsenal in the slightest, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that you don't have good players or a decent team. I'm just gonna say you're not gonna make Europe again. Why did you fire Arsene Wenger? You make no sense. Anyway, that's the wrap up. That's the lineup. Those are my Premier League predictions. United goes on to lift the title for a 14th time. Brighton, Watford, Palace, they're all going down to the championship. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I should have some stuff coming up in the next few days. Hopefully putting out a video Tuesday. If you have a video suggestion, if you have something that you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Shout me out. Give me a holler. Tell me all the things that I'm doing right, that I'm doing wrong, things that you love, things that you don't. Oh, and if you're a troll, leave me some hate down in the comments so that I know you're here and so that I can continue to be better for you guys so eventually you might like me. Thanks for coming back to another episode of Too Fat for Footy, and I'm super excited to get into the Premier League season with you guys and watch what happens moving forward. It's some of the best sports magic in the entire world, and I hope you guys are able to watch on Saturday. And last but not least, glory, glory, Man United. Until next time, worldies, keep kicking.